So I sat at Alexandra and Suzanne's dinner table with Chrissy, and she showed me these things that you have that she's going to talk to you about. And I had a profound experience with them, a really great healing experience. And actually, about a week and a half ago, I wasn't feeling great. I had the flu, not COVID. I had the flu a week and a half ago for 24 hours. But during it, I felt really crummy. Lisa called me and said, Marcy, remember those patches? And I went and put them on, and I tell you, oops, they're here. They're under my sleeves. Within 30 seconds, I felt completely better. It was really a miracle. This is no joke miracle.
And I called her because the same thing had just happened to me. I said I was feeling run down, but I'm like, Marcy, the patches.
So
yes.
I'm going to read Chrissy's intro, and then Lisa is going to talk with her, and she's going to guide us how we're going to use these patches. So
Yes.
Chrissy Ellis is an expert in a multitude of bioenergetic practices with 30 years of experience developing unique techniques. She built her success on her outstanding abilities in the sixth sense and her ongoing thirst for knowledge in applied quantum physics and consciousness. Chrissy is a transformational coach for both individuals and organizations. She's an international teacher and holds a bachelor's degree in transpersonal psychology. Chrissy is a shifter of quantum patterns, driving into the dense energy that appears as matter to us, weaving it into new patterns with higher frequencies that can unfold into a new reality for body, mind, and spirit. In 2014, she founded Beyond Matters to make her cutting-edge technology that encodes stable, multidimensional quantum patterns on different carriers, like these patches. She also has other carriers, like beads. And she's making these available to the world, offering people a user-friendly quantum shift to go. So it's like, it's your to-go order of a quantum shift. And Chrissy, I just want to thank you so much for doing the work that you do. I know that you're like way out there in the cosmos developing this stuff, and you are dedicated to bringing it to people to make huge changes in their lives. And you have changed. I'm so thrilled to have gotten to experience these patches, and I'm exceptionally excited to bring them to everybody here in Your Year of Miracles. So thank you, Chrissy. Let's welcome her.
Yes. Thank you.
And Lisa, take it away.
Yes, and thank you, Marcy, for your vision on this, because that's your genius, is connecting people with the right environment. And so Chrissy and I had an opportunity to work together a little bit on her story, because it's a vast, deep story. She is joining us now from Germany, and it is nighttime, your time there. But I wanted to have the opportunity for you to get to know her on a deeper level. So I'm going to ask you first, and I'm going to look at you here. Tell us a little bit about your journey, Chrissy. Where did it all start? Take us back.
Let me start that with a question. Have any of you wonderful ladies ever felt like you were born into the wrong place? For me, actually, it was onto the wrong. Yeah, I see you. Onto the wrong planet. That's how I felt as a youngster. I was born into an unhappy family, struggling with a multitude of challenges. I was born in the States, but I grew up in Germany with a frustrated dad that suffered from depression and unfortunately used alcohol as his medicine. My mom, on the other hand, was deeply religious, and I grew up as a pariah for many different reasons. One of them certainly was that all my life I have been keenly aware of how people felt and what was going on with them. I was born a strong empath, which I was not aware of, and I sure did not know that not everybody so clearly felt and saw what was so obvious for me. As you might imagine, that got me into some really interesting situations and into lots of trouble until I figured it out and learned to be quiet about what was so obvious to me. So I was rather wild and lively little girl until depression hit me when I was 14. And when I was around 15, I tried to kill myself. My family, of course, was overwhelmed with the situation, especially since I had no idea how to protect me from myself. Unfortunately, the same was true for our family doctor, because he simply had me locked up in a mental hospital. So after staying there for over a year and other suicide attempts, they finally gave up on me. They kicked me out, sent me back home. So one evening when I talked to my mom, she looked me in the eye and said, you know, sweetheart, I have a really hard time with what you're doing. I don't love what you're doing, but I want you to know that I always love you no matter what you do. That was when something clicked inside of me, and I seriously and deeply wanted her devastation and pain to end. So I decided I'd survive somehow. So in the meantime, the wild young girl had grown into a wild teenager and young adult, still creatively getting myself into lots of trouble. As memories come back, as my depression was still there, my soul manifested my ongoing conflict with life in interesting new ways. All of a sudden, I developed a ton of allergies. At around 66, doctors just stopped counting. Life was truly miserable. I could barely and rarely breathe, which meant I could only sleep sitting up, which was no fun. Food allergies kept piling on top of each other, and just, you know, leaving the house was a serious struggle. Now everybody wears a breathing mask. I had to wear one 40 years ago because of all the environmental challenges I had. I did everything. Yes.
I'm just going to, there we go. I'm just going to bring up a point here of how many people in the room here have been through the experience of it, seeing things in such a different way that those around you don't see, and you felt broken. You felt it was you. Yes. And then it manifested into a physical illness, as Chrissy's explaining, through the 66 different types of allergies and everything. All it was her genius being suppressed into the form of allergies. So I'll ask you, Chrissy, how did you come to find and discover your way to healing through these symptomatic allergies?
Well, the doctors again gave up on me. After so many years, they said, you know, none of the medication is working. You'll just have to live with it. There's nothing we can do anymore. But in my darkest moment, my mom had taught me to never, ever give up. So I went on looking for an alternative, because I sure wasn't going to live this miserably for the rest of my life, right? So when I found a flyer about this strange kinesiology stuff, as I then thought, I followed my guidance, booked a session, and I know it doesn't always work like this for everybody, but for me, it really worked, because within that one session, all of my allergies were gone. Never came back.
And that was through discovering the kinesiology, you called it, transpersonal. Well, it was basically discovering the field of the quantum, right?
It was where I first came into contact with the unity of body, spirit, and mind, that they were truly an interactive system. And I learned that we could truly heal ourselves from anything when we clear and balance our bioenergetic field, and empowering energy to flow freely between body, mind, and spirit, because we are, after all, living systems and designed to heal ourselves when not too much is interfering, right? So
go ahead.
I was so astounded when my seemingly unhealable allergies were gone within an hour that I absolutely wanted to heal and learn how to do that myself, and ended up learning for the rest of my life. So I studied many modalities of energy healing, transpersonal psychology, applied quantum physics, continuously using that in my 30 years as a transpersonal coach, continuously at the same time developing my own application of consciousness and quantum physics. And I am so blessed that all of that happened, because without the allergies, I would not be here. And truly, this is my calling and purpose.
Yes. So, as 30 years as a transpersonal coach, what did you derive was the main issue with the disconnection that people experience?
I have to understand your question. The disconnection between body, mind, and spirit?
Yes, yes.
I remembered the lady that talked before me about Greg Braden having written 10 books of that. So I was doing a quick, fast condensation. It is a lot of the major thing. There are like 10 answers popping into my mind, but it is primarily the having lost the connection to their true self, taking in the belief systems and the judgments of other people and of society, and starting to distrust their feeling for themselves. Like when you know deep in your heart who and what you are, and then you fall into the trap of other people's judgments just because they're trying to keep themselves safe and you safe, then you disconnect from your own truth. And the disconnection from your own truth, which lives in your heart, will always have a lot of other things it causes. It's like the ripple in the pond, right?
Mm. And so through 30 years as a transpersonal coach, you had mentioned to me, rather than just helping one-on-one, you wanted to develop a way where you could help one on many. So tell us a little bit about how you bring this holographic quantum of this healing field into this beautiful item.
It's using my abilities to see and sense patterns. I shifted the disturbances I found in the quantum field or in the energy field of the people I worked with, harmonizing them and realigning them with the divine blueprint. So what I saw after a while, that was that patterns just kept repeating and repeating and repeating themselves. And it soon became evident that this was connected to specific issues people were struggling with. Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned, I was becoming seriously frustrated with the fact that no matter how long the day or how hard I worked, there was always a strong limitation to how many people I support. So one night when I woke up around, not a night I'll forget lightly, around 4 a.m. with food poisoning, I was so sick that I could not work my own magic for myself. And that is when I realized that it was a call for action. It was time for change. So I drastically reduced the amount of people I was seeing and went into research how I could externalize what I had been doing live one-to-one, which was looking at your energy, seeing the disbalances, disharmonies, interrupting patterns, and shifting and harmonizing them, bringing you back into alignment with your true self and your divine blueprint. After having seen the many patterns repeating themselves, it was relatively easy to develop a kind of multidimensional software that would recognize that and also harmonize it.
What you just said is incredible. So just so we all understand this, you take this multi-dimensional holograph that you built in the quantum field and you collapse it into matter, such as patches.
Yes, ma'am.
And so you bring that into this divinely guided, high frequency, energetic holograph into the patches. Those are your words. right?
That is exact. That describes it perfectly. Yes. And to see that the patches on it really matter anyway. There is no, quantum science shows us that there is no such thing as matter. They're just a different frequency. So doing that is no stranger than downloading an app. It's just a completely different kind of app, and it doesn't work on your smartphone, but it works on this smart bioenergetic field, right?
I just have to ask you why. Why are you so driven and guided to do this for the world? What is your overall goal with this or higher purpose with this, Chrissy?
It truly is to raise consciousness on the planet. As we raise consciousness in each and every one of us in a very grounded way, we raise consciousness on the planet. I spent decades finding my sense of purpose and life when I was younger. And that is the only thing that truly calls me.
I wish you had a patch like this when you were young, right? So tell us a little bit about the patches in the envelope and what the individual patches do. And so you can all take out your envelopes at this point and you can explain to us what's the purpose of each individual patch.
Yes. So what you will find in the envelope is the little envelope that has the patches inside. And you will also find a page that has a description of the individual patches, so you don't have to absolutely memorize everything you hear now. Yes?
We have a few slides that you can show us a little bit about the results of the patches.
Yes. Would you like to look at those first? Would you like to see the patches? Here's the slides. Okay,
One sec.
This is fun time.
I know it's a little hard going back and forth with the audio. Sorry. You're doing great, Renee. All right, go ahead, Chrissy.
So we had preliminary tests run to find equipment that could measure the energetic effects of our software. We found a lab in, of course, California. And what you see here is the test result of the red patch, which is the power booster patch, one of my all-time favorites. The subject was one of their employees, very stressed, very low energy, which you can easily see on the left side. You see how raggedy the energy field is and how it seems to have holes in it. So they put a power booster patch, the red patch, on him and took another picture 20 minutes later. And you can easily see the change, how the energy is much more solid and strong, right? So let's move to the next slide, please. Don, thank you. So this is the same person. Again, they took different kinds of pictures before and after. And this is a health diagram. On the left side, you see the diagram of the organs before. I don't know if you can read it where you are, but it gives you the name of all of the organs and which energetic state they were in. The pink inner circle is drastic under energy. The green is perfect and the yellow would be the over energy. And you can see that many of his organs were seriously had a lack of energy, right? Can you see that? So again, after the 20 minutes, they took another picture in this graph, and you can see how the energy circle has moved out and all of his organs are now in a really nice and ideal energetic level, right?
Now the red one is something that's a power booster. So this lasts for about 5 hours on the body, right?
Yes, it is. Let's look at the last picture. Don, one more, thank you. So again, the same patch, the power booster patch, and you can see how imbalanced and partially low energy the chakras is. And most of you are probably familiar with this kind of picture for the chakras, the virtual chakras. So look at the difference between the left and the right. Again, the red power booster patch after 20 minutes. Experience shows that it works a lot faster than 20 minutes, but they only take a shot every so and so many minutes. So they decided on the 20. To come back to your question, yes, the red power booster patch is the only patch that lasts for 5 hours, and it raises your energy to its healthy maximum for that time period. And you can also see how it centers your energy, lets you be very grounded, even emotionally aligned, while at the same moment raising it to your maximum ability.
Better than
So,
coffee.
if much better than coffee. So if you're tired, if you want to go into performance or competition, or just, you've had a long day, but you have this business dinner in the evening, or your kids wore you out, any kind of situation like that, put on a power patch and you'll be doing great. And yes, it's like an energy drink, but without the chemicals, without the coughing, and without the calories. Isn't that great?
Good point. Okay, now what about the other patches, the ones with the squiggly lines, the orange and the red ones?
So the white patch that has the dark red print on it is the other energy patch, where the power booster takes your energy, goes whoop for 5 hours. The soft booster, the white patch with the dark red print on it, is what you support yourself with when you have been very drained, when you have very low energy, when you're regenerating from something, recuperating, or when you're still doing pretty good, but you're going to have one of those weeks ahead of you. So you put on the soft booster patch to support yourself, to very gently and softly revitalize your bioenergetic field. So this is great for recuperation.
Yes, this is the one that I put on when I was feeling low energy and drained. And then I called Marcy, who was not feeling super great. And which one did you advise for her, for someone who's kind of feeling not great health?
That is absolutely the other white one that has the orange print on it, which is the master patch. And can you see? Mm-hmm. The white with the orange print on it. So the master patch is perfect if you have any concerns about your overall well-being, your health, your vitality, because it wonderfully supports you in dealing with environmental challenges or with pollution loads. So what most people tell us, just like you and Marcia did, is that when you feel you've caught something, you may be coming down with something, or you want to not do that, then you put on the master patch, and it very fast, very quickly supports your energy system so that your self-healing is massively activated, and anything interfering with that will be harmonized.
What about EMFs? Because we all spend a lot of time in front of our computers.
Yes.
Is there a protection against EMFs in these patches?
We have an extra EMF product, but the EMF is included in the master. So the master includes many different software systems in one. That's why we call it the master. And yes, if you wear the master, EMF will be neutralized.
And now what about the blue patch?
The blue. The blue patch is our stress relief. And this is one that we tested a lot in the very beginning with animals from rescue shelters, because if it works with them, it's not your belief system or wishful thinking. And we have lots of wonderful experiences with dogs and with horses. So the blue is what you use when you feel stressed. It might be that because of your life circumstances, your stress level is just higher than you want it to be. It might be that you're overwhelmed, or that you're challenged in specific situations. around specific people sometimes, or that you're stuck in a relationship or at work, or that you're in conflict with a family member. Whatever you feel causes any kind of stress for you, support yourself with the blue stress relief, because it harmonizes and dissolves the acute stress that is happening at the moment, but at the same time, it also works with the stress memory that is part of your cell programming. Because that's what cell memory is, or what stress memory is. It's just part of your cell memory that can be dissolved and harmonized, which means you move into a completely different spot to deal with challenges, where you can be more creative and solution-oriented. It's really a great piece.
So which one do you think that we should, or first of all, where do you put these on your body as the most effective place? And how do we determine which one is the best one for us at this time?
So we normally put it just on the right here, because they last, the other three last for 7 days. And you can, take a bath, go swimming, take a shower, but please pat it dry and don't rub it, which is much easier if you have it where you can see it. For the beautiful ladies at the retreat, for anybody at the retreat, I recommend the blue one, because the blue one, the stress relief, relieves stress on one side, but it also massively supports integration. So the blue one supports any changes or any shifts you have made or will be making in this wonderful retreat, and it supports the integration while lasting for 7 whole days, which means you will have a lot of benefit even after the retreat. So this is the one I would recommend for you at this time.
And it's also explained, there's a piece of paper in the envelope that has all of the explanations. You don't have to remember what Chrissy said specifically, but you can intuit into what works for you. And because you're in such a great heightened sensitivity at this time during the retreat, really be aware of the impact that, or the effects or the subtle energy effects that it takes on your body, just to be aware of it. Chrissy, could you tell us a little bit about some of the people that have used the patches, that their success or their impact that they've had from the patches?
Gladly. The stories that people tell us back always are a lot of fun. There was one, though, that I experienced myself shortly when we were on a high ropes course, and the lady in front of us all of a sudden froze in the middle between 2 trees. We were waiting for her to finish crossing, but there was no way. She had tears running down her face. She was just panicked. Fortunately, she had a very loving husband that coaxed her back onto the platform after a while. I happened to have a balance patch on me and gave her that, trusting that that would enable her to move all the way back to the starting point where you need to go when you want to get out of the trees. So I gave her the patch, which she instantly put on, and we moved on. And a little while later, we were very surprised to see her not down on the ground, but up in the trees, mastering a far more difficult challenge that actually I kind of said, not going to do that one. And she was up there climbing. We were really surprised. So when we met the couple in the hotel in the evening, they told us that within a minute, she stopped shaking, stopped crying, felt calm, trusting, and just ready to go. So she said, hey, I feel great. I'm going to give this a try. And the husband said they haven't had that much fun in years. So now, so you see the balance patch relieves more than just the acute stress. Now, don't expect it to always be this fast with you, because it really depends on where the stress comes from, how complex it is. The software for the balance patch is really, really complex. But very often, we see it so often, is with people, but also with animals. It just works like that.
right, you said this works with animals as well. Tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about that. Which patch would work for animals?
It depends on the address you want to challenge. And don't try to stick patches on animals. We tried, doesn't really work well. That's why we developed different products. So for horses, we use glass beads, which you can
Right on their mane,
right,
right?
thank you, ma'am, right into the mane. So those were really great. And Judy, who is a nurse that uses the patches for herself, also has 3 horses from a rescue shelter. And one of them, Canyon, seems to have had some really bad experiences with being loaded on a trailer, but she needs to move him from the mountain to the valley on a regular basis. And she wrote that normally it took at least 2 hours. And when he arrived, he would be soaking wet and foamed. So she put a balance bead on him the day before, and it took him 10 minutes to load.
Wow.
And when he got there, he was as happy as a horse can be. No sweat and nothing else. So that's great. Of course, you know, it's not placebo, right?
Dogs and cats. A lot of people are asking about dogs and cats.
We do have, well, I know we have a tight time, but it was funny. I made these for humans. I worked with people. I made these for humans, right? So all of my friends kept saying, oh, do you have those? Do you have one for my dog?
Mm-hmm.
So I made them for dogs. And then the other friends came in and said, oh, do you have them for horses? So now we have them for horses. And we have a cat. But if any of you wonderful ladies can think of a way to get this on your cat, please let me know.
Well, you
Seriously.
you actually suggested to put it under the bed of where the cat sleeps. So it could be on the area where the cat sleeps or the dog or any animal sleeps.
Now,
A couple of great rapid fire questions. Oh, yes, you were going to say?
yes, we do have everything. We have not the patches, but we have the master and the balance and the allergy products for horses and dogs. And I'm so sorry to say that we do not yet have them for cats. The software is here, but I have not figured out a good carrier yet. I will, it's coming, I promise.
Okay. There's a lot of questions coming in. Maybe Christine can address the questions on Zoom a little bit later throughout the day, because there's a lot of questions, great questions coming in, so people can understand them more, but a lot of curiosity. And I think, is that it? We have just enough time there? Great. Yes.
No, we don't have time for questions.
We
but,
don't.
Chrissy,
Chrissy?
Yes,
that
ma'am.
was awesome. That was really awesome. I have to say this. Chrissy, I'm going to out you on this. She was nervous about sharing all of this because it's so complicated. I mean, it's so like out there, you know, and kind of seems like really out there. She's putting a patch on herself, like she wore her own stress patch.
She's so funny.
Yeah. we got to hear you. We got to hear her too. That's even if we get some echo. So she actually practiced her story with Lisa.
Yeah.
And Lisa was
my
Lisa,
honor.
you did an amazing job. And Chrissy, you did an amazing job of explaining this in such a beautiful way.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great
so
job.
Fabulous.
Hey, Chrissy, so great to see you,
Great
my
to
dear.
see you.
So if you would put your appreciations for Chrissy in the chat, and we'll take a couple of very quick ones right here. We need somebody with the mic. Yeah. Okay, here we go. So in the chat, you're going, this is amazing. Thank you for sharing your gift with us. So generous for the whole pack. Thank you so much.
In the room?
Amazing. Yeah.
Oh, hi. We'd like to know if our teenagers can wear them. So what, is there an age restriction?
Which one's for the teenagers, Chrissy?
How many?
Yeah.
And how many do
Can they wear all 4? No.
Okay, wait, Chrissy, we
can't
got
hear
to
her.
be able to hear you.
The balance probably.
Balance.
I don't think you want to put a power booster on your teenager.
Yeah. No power booster on teenagers. She's question about wearing two at the same time.
No.
Okay, and Chrissy, you can wear two at the same time, is that correct?
actually, they complement each other perfectly. You can put all four. We have a power lifter that broke 2 American records this year wearing all 4 of them. So go for it.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
One more appreciation.
Oh, it was a question.
No questions.
Oh.
Sorry. Yeah,
But you
these
can
are
still say thank
appreciations.
you.
Yeah. And an appreciation for Chrissy. Anybody?
Wonderful.
Sorry. We would love to have.
Thank you so much, Chrissy. I have a dog with high anxiety on thunderstorms, and nothing has worked. So you just gave me a ton of hope. Thank you.
Great.
Quick
Wonderful. Thank you
Wait, we
so
got to
much.
hear Chrissy.
Quick remark. If you have a person or an animal nothing has worked on, add a master patch or have them checked for toxins, because often a toxin will make a health blockage, so nothing can work on the psychic level, just as an additional information. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you,
You're
Chrissy.
brilliant, Chrissy. Brilliant.
Enjoy your retreat. Thank you so much.
Nailed it, girl.
And by the way, if you want to get more patches on the back there, they have where you can get more patches. They're giving everybody
right.
here a % discount, I think. So,
Yes.
yeah. I think
You
we're
have a
gonna be all over
20%
our
discount.
I know. All right.
It's a great thing. So, thank you.
Okay.
Lisa.
Good job,
Bye.
Chrissy.